Jack Posobiec, we're back here, Washington, D.C., the Charlie Kirk Memorial Show, and we're just showing some of these images that are now coming in from all over the country last night. Spontaneous vigils, prayer services, rosaries, people coming out and putting up pictures of Charlie. I don't even know how you get something like that printed so quickly, and the candles going up everywhere. And it's all organic. This is nothing that was directly from the organization. Even the Turning Point's own headquarters, which are showing there, they held a vigil last night that was completely spontaneous and organic, which is exactly what Charlie would have wanted. People becoming activated, people doing things on their own, stepping up, taking agency. That's what he always wanted. And I remember him saying this. He would say, if I can just get people to step up and start doing things, then we win. If we just get people motivated, we will win. And I said it before, Charlie spent his entire life trying to inspire a national turning point. And he has accomplished that. He has now done so. Alex Marlow, what do you make of this where it really is just a very positive outpouring? We're seeing it from around the world. We're seeing it from members of, across the aisle, liberals, Democrats, people saying, you know what? I think even the New York Times, Ezra Klein, they said Charlie did politics the way it should be done, with moxie, with smarts, with boldness, but never with anger.
Yeah, a pretty remarkable contrast to the initial reactions from the J.B. Pritzkers of the world and the MSNBCs of the world, who were suggesting maybe Charlie brought this on himself. The New York Times was very intentional today when they put in his obituary, they called him a provocateur. That word is on purpose. They believe he provoked his own assassination, and that's disgusting. But you did start seeing some people start getting a hold of themselves and start understanding, as Ezra Klein flagged on his own, not the paper itself, and as well as some of these leaders all around the world are saying this is not the humanity we want. And this is a spiritual fight we're in, Jack, and Charlie knew this. He wasn't just an evangelist for conservatism and for our Constitution. He was an evangelist for Christ. He was an evangelist for Judeo-Christian values. Charlie stood for that, and people around the world who observe him know that he was as fluent in biblical matters as he was in political matters. And this is the spiritual battle that we need. And people who might not agree with his politics need to understand that Charlie did do things the right way. He did things with debate. He did things with nonviolence. He did things with just trying to meet people where they were and convince them, trying to get them to change their minds if he disagreed, and happily accepting them if they didn't. That's what he stood for. That's who he was. And I think smart people always knew that. Maybe today they're finally starting to admit it.
Yeah, and I remember being on campus with him or being at wherever we were. And he would always say, if you disagree, come right to the front. If you disagree, come right up here. Let's have it out. Let's have that conversation. But you can watch hundreds of hours of videotape of Charlie on these campuses. You'll never once see him raise a hand in anger. He's got conviction. Of course, he's got boldness. Absolutely. When you're debating, you're going to. But he doesn't get angry. He doesn't get physical. There's never been a violent bone in his body. I've never seen that in private. I've never known him to be like that. And it really does just sum it all up. They couldn't debate him, so they did this. And
that's exactly right.
Do you think yeah, this will be a turning point against, and we've seen a wave of left-wing violence. We've seen a wave of political violence and anti-Christian violence that's going on just this month. Do you think that it will wind down, or are we going to see more?
I run very pessimistic in this regard, and I think some of those initial reactions we saw from people in the left-wing commentariat make me think that maybe it won't be, and I've seen some of the reactions on Blue Sky and TikTok. But if you look around the world, there are so many bright spots. We at Breitbart, we are tracking today conservatives in Spain, in Latin America, in Brazil, in El Salvador, all over the world. They're in Argentina. We're seeing even the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, condemning it. So many people are out there saying this is not the way forward for the human race. And it does give me some hope. There is a layer of hope, but there is a deep spiritual problem that we have in this country. There is a yearning for God in so many American households that is absent right now. And it's the absence of God that provided this in people's lives. It's a demonic impulse that we're witnessing day after day in this country. And people need to confront it. They need to confront it, though, on a micro level. It's communities, it's families. And until we fully address that, then I'm going to be in fear that this will continue to some degree or another.
No, and I've seen it all. I've seen every single piece of it. People are sending me stuff like crazy. Phone, blew up yesterday. I was on air when this happened. And I've seen the comments, the TikToks, and there's no other word for it than demonic. The way people are cheering, celebrating a man whose life was cut down in his absolute prime when he was just getting to the top of the mountain. I think he was just there, and he had other mountains yet to climb, and we all knew that he did. And he wanted us to be along there with him. And these monsters want to celebrate it, and you see it all across Blue Sky. You see it across TikTok. You can find tweet after tweet. Sort of the big names have kind of realized they have to be careful now. But I've said this for a year now at this point, that there will be more Mangionis. And the cult of Luigi, the fandom of Luigi was there because now that they have lost political power, they are now choosing physical, kinetic power. And it was Chairman Mao himself who said political power grows from the barrel of a gun.
Right.
Alex, I know you got to run. And where can people go to follow and everything that you guys are putting up?
The Alex Marlow Show. I'll have a long tribute to Charlie today on my podcast, and I can't thank you enough, Jack, for having me and including me in this, and Real America's Voice, wonderful job over there. And we're going to honor Charlie at Breitbart News all day, every day. We're putting up dozens and dozens and dozens of pieces of content about Charlie. He got his start writing for us. It's something we're deeply proud of, and will always be a part of that in history. Charlie was my friend. I spoke with him virtually every day. I was on his program once a week. He was a good man, and people need to understand that. If you're motivated to get involved right now, know that he wasn't just a conservative warrior. He was a good person, a genuinely good person. He was that guy.
Absolutely was, Alex. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being a part of this. President Trump has just put out a new statement. He's been talking to reporters. He brought up Charlie. I want to play that now.
You don't replace Joe. No, but not as well as I do. He was a unique man, but do the best we can.
Anything on the investigation or anything on the latest that you've heard from the FBI or Cash Patel?
They've reported to me so far. Pretty much what you're seeing in the news is what it is. They have a virtual manhunt out there, so we'll see what happens. We hope we get them.
Sir, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, Press, let's go.
All right, that's President Trump, a virtual manhunt. I hope we get him. I want to go now to Harrison Field's press team of the White House. Harrison, thank you so much for joining us and being here today.
It's good to be here, Jack. I wish it was better circumstances, but it's good to see you.
Absolutely. Can you tell us just, beyond the politics of this, Charlie had so many friends in the White House. Can you tell me what the mood is like in there, or how it's been in the last 12 hours or so?
Well, I recently departed, so I'm actually back in the private sector, but I've been talking to my friends back at the White House. They're just all devastated. There are no words, right? And first and foremost, our prayers, our thoughts, everything in our bodies is going towards Erica and the kids. We can't fathom it. I am a young father myself, recently married, kind of following that Charlie Kirk motto, get married, have babies. This is what it's all about. You're at a loss for words. There is just no making sense of the unsensible tragedy that took our friend's life. And even if you didn't get to know him, you felt like you did know him. I was talking to friends from all over the country, and they're at a loss. They don't understand how something like this could happen. They got my friends engaged in politics. After years of me trying to convince people to become conservatives, all they needed was one Charlie Kirk video, and here they were voting for the president. That's the type of impact that he had. And his legacy will be a lot of things, but one thing, and I know you guys have been talking about it, his legacy as a man of faith, as a Christian, as a lover of Jesus will be of paramount importance. I mean, this is a man that when he saw my pin, it's right here on my lapel right here. It has a cross over the United States flag. He pointed it out to me. He noticed it. And I joked with him. I said, it's my Christian nationalist pin. And he got a chuckle out of it. Because we cannot be afraid to be Christians in this country. And, just minutes before he passed, we knew that he was professing his faith once again. And I heard Kayleigh McEnany mention this quote, and I think it's beautiful. It's not about left or right. Just remember above and up. And we know that our brother Charlie is in the arms of Jesus Christ and the angels up there. And as a Christian, that gives you some level of comfort when you're just grasping for something to make sense of it all.
No, and martyrs absolutely go straight in. Harrison, we got about a minute here until the break, but it's something that Charlie always led with, and he was so unapologetic about his faith. And I think that's something that to Gen Z really, really was able to connect with them at a time when so many people are asking what's going on. It felt like, through COVID, everything was collapsing. And then here comes Charlie. It's God, it's the Bible, it's Jesus, and he's there serving it to you right on campus.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. We have a loneliness epidemic between our younger population. Charlie was able to influence them in a way to introduce them to God. With God in your life, you can't be lonely. You are so fulsome and wholesome in your life. So he's been able to evangelize in many ways to people. You became a Christian and a conservative just from listening to him. That's the type of impact he has. You look throughout history, there's not many people that have been able to do that. You look at the Graham family, you look at people like, MLK or, other prominent people in our country that have had such a platform. The president of the United States, such a palpable platform, one that doesn't die with them, but really lives on. But the reality is, again, as Christians, we know that he's very much alive in heaven. A place where he prayed and wished and knew he probably would end up one day. By no means did we think it would be at 31 years young. But again, our hearts and our thoughts and prayers are with his family right now.
Absolutely. Harrison Fields, thank you so much for joining us today. And obviously, we hope that Erica and the family are feeling those prayers right now. Jack Posobiec coming back. Charlie Kirk Memorial Show here, Real America's Voice.